Hello, welcome to Blueprints. I'm Bodine Sanders, your producer and host. Joining me today is George Sedberry, AKA White George, a social media storyteller and educator. White George is walking across America to promote and highlight HBCUs. So let's welcome White George to the program. George.
How you doing, buddy?
How you doing, bud? How's it going?
I am living somebody's dream here in St. Louis. How are you doing?
Is that where you are right now? You in St. Louis?
Yes, sir. Got to go to Harris-Stowe State, the HBCU located here, and then on my way tomorrow to Lincoln University in Jefferson City.
Well, again, folks, White George is walking across America to support HBCUs. And the way that I got connected with George is I was looking on social media, which I do not do a lot of, and I came across this video, and I don't remember if it was Instagram or the Twitter/X, or if it was, what's the other one? I only have three. Threads, Facebook. I don't know which one of those three it was, but I came across a video of White George asking a group of beautiful black women, and they were really smiling at George because they thought he was handsome. And he asked them to name as many HBCUs as possible. And I went, wow, I have never seen someone do that before. And with his energy, positive energy, by the way, it didn't come across if he was trying to do a gotcha question to someone. It was genuine energy to promote HBCUs. And I thought it was awesome. And so what did I do? I contacted you somehow. And next thing you know, we're on the phone. Do you remember that?
Oh, I do. I was in Pennsylvania somewhere.
You were in, and I didn't know you were in Pennsylvania, but you had just left or you had meetings with Cheney. My schedule was busy, so we couldn't really get together. But you were in Pennsylvania. And Cheney obviously is important to me because that's where I began my college career. Most folks who watch this program know I began my career at Cheney before I transferred and graduated from Villanova as a student athlete. So let's start with the interview. My first question I always ask all my guests is share your positive perspective with that Tennessee State shirt on. Share your positive perspective on diversity, equity, and inclusion from what you've been doing.
Well, you know, DEI is such a negative word now, especially in my community. It is verboten and it's been perverted. DEI is basically trying to get us to think open and be accepting and open of other people so that we all have that equal opportunity, not equitable outcomes, but that equal start. That's all it is. But it's been perverted into where you have to hire people and you have to check a box. And it's become something it's not meant to be. It's not about forcing people to change the way they think and who they're open to. It's just to try to get people to open their mind and grow from their perception to the perspective. That's a complicated answer, but to me, that's what it means.
Oh, absolutely. And all things and multiple things can be true at the same time because, again, I wrote a book on diversity and inclusion based on the subtitle of my book. And the carrot is sports. Talking about sports because I believe it is the second best example, the military being the first best example, right? When you're in a foxhole, you shouldn't really care anything about anybody in that foxhole with you other than let's do the job and get out of here and go home, right? That's the only thing that should matter. But sports being the second best example, which I participated in, and maybe you did as well. So that's where I like to have and start the conversation, talking about sports. What inspired you to want to walk across America to highlight HBCUs?
I was sitting in prison, if you'll indulge me. I was sitting in isolation for about a month. And I could see out a window to another window, and I could see out my door to a door. That was my world. The lights never went off for 24 hours a day the entire time. Someone there was on suicide watch. And you got let out twice a week for 3-minute showers. You had no Bible, no nothing. Eventually you got a writing pad. And I was losing my mind. I was becoming detached from reality. And I started to imagine walking just outside the prison, back to my home, the town. It just kept expanding. And when my memory ran out, I just created my own world, what it looked like, and people I'd meet and conversations. And that made me seem crazy, but it helped me stay glued to reality. And when times got hard in prison, I would withdraw and go back to that walking. And then I got out and I didn't think about it. I saw a documentary, a guy named Gabriel Cordova who wheelchaired across America only 9 months after being sober. He was paralyzed from the chest down. And I was so inspired by that. The next day at Walmart, I met a pair of twin brothers walking across America. I was like, okay, God, you got my attention. You got my attention, right? But I didn't have my why. And that took me about another year. And I've been going to the HBCUs. I started this thing called HBCU Travel Challenge. I've been to 30 campuses in the last year. And I knew then that's what I was supposed to do. I was supposed to create conversation awareness, traversing across the country, just in a positive way to show people the impact that the culture and the students and the faculty and all that's given America and the world. It's one of the most beautiful stories I've ever found that's never been told. And I thought, what better way to tell it than to drag my fat ass across America?
And I love the question. Now, how many people have got, and I know you know this, but for the general audience, I'll let people know, there are 107 HBCUs in the United States. How many, when you ask randomly, when you're out with your microphone asking folks, what's the most one of your interviewees have gotten? How far have someone gotten?
I think someone's gotten 40 I've done 50 in 60 seconds on camera, but I have an eidetic memory. But I've had a few people, one person get 40, and I've had like 2 others bump up against it. But 10 to 12 is the average, which is still pretty good because a lot of these names are obscure to people.
Unless they're ingrained in the culture on a daily basis, meaning they work at an HBCU, they're doing business with an HBCU, it's not on their mind every single day. So it can be a very difficult question, without a doubt, no doubt about it. How much fun have you been having?
Man, this has been one of the craziest years of my life. This has been, I grew up racist in Arkansas, and I'm very open about that. And never in a million years did I think my life would turn out the trajectory it has. And it's like food tastes better, colors are brighter, everything sounds better. It's once you get rid of the weight of the hate in your heart, life becomes beautiful. And this last year has just, I feel like it's almost like a pinnacle, even though I'm not just getting started. So I can't wait to see what comes. If it's anything better than this past year.
Well, my Irish twin sister, who I talk about often, because I have 4 sisters that are still living. I grew up with 6. 2 passed away. My Irish twin sister is married to a retired Navy man from Arkansas. And when I heard you talking and asking questions, I knew you were from the South. I just couldn't tell what part. But, as I paid more attention to you, I realized that now we have more than one thing in common. We have more than the love of HBCUs. We have more than the love of food. We obviously have the same type of See, these are the things that build relationships, right? When you find out what you have in common and then you build on those relationships, right? That's what's great. And I try to be positive, but I also like to be factual. Tell the audience your origin story real quick. Take a few minutes to talk about where you started and why you were inspired to become this advocate for HBCUs.
I grew up in a small town in Arkansas, 2 sisters, parents, average childhood. I mean, I had it. Our house burned down, almost died from meningitis. My dad got brain cancer, all that in like a year time period growing up. But I grew up in a town in an area where racism was very prevalent, and it was instilled and taught to me by people I loved and trusted. And I just floated through life. I went to school, great grades, went to college, bought a moving company, just floated through life. I've had successes in the mortgage business, the radio business, but I didn't have purpose. And I knew I had racist ideology the whole time. I hate this trope, but I had friends who happened to be black, but it didn't change the way that I thought. Right. And it wasn't, there's different things that happened. I dated a girl with biracial kids, and, that exposed me for years being very close. Like, you started to get, everything's always hindsight 2020. But I think the biggest thing growing up from that small town in Arkansas in a very, very 99% white community. I mean, my whole world was white. And then going to prison and seeing the world far differently than I had grown up, I began to see things honestly, maybe just in an honest way. And I began to see things that were counterintuitive to everything I was taught. And that was difficult. And that my character was flawed. And I had to admit that to myself. And I had to look back and realize all these people I loved and trusted had taught me wrong because they had been taught wrong. And my whole world was upended. Like, when I walked out of prison and I began to take notice, that's when everything hit me, like in 2013 and 15, because I went twice. And all the things I'd been told by black men and Hispanic men and different origins for me, I began to see, like, whoa. And once I started to see it, I can't unsee it. And then it got to a point I couldn't stay silent. I just didn't know how to speak up until I discovered TikTok. And then everything went crazy.
Now that's incredible. What's so far? What's your favorite HBCU? And that might be difficult because, HBCUs are, important in my family. One of my sisters graduated from Bethune-Cookman in Daytona Beach, an hour and a half from where I grew up in Jacksonville, Florida. My aunt, my baby sister, went to Atlanta Clark. Close family members went to FAMU in Tallahassee. So, there's a lot of HBCU. So I know each campus brings a certain flavor and a certain culture and a certain way about it. It could be a hard one. So do you have just one that's your favorite, or do you have 5 that's your favorite?
Okay, I love them all equally. That's the politically correct answer. I don't want to get harassed and jumped for saying the wrong school. Like you just said, all these schools are so individually unique to each other. The cultures are so different to all belong to the same family. Like, if I went back to college, it would probably be to take an African-American studies class or an audited class, probably at Morehouse, probably Professor Ilya Davis. That man, the students that he's had that I've met respect him. I've met him, genuinely like the guy. That would probably be my first stop. I love Miles College in Alabama. Love Miles. It's a small school, a sports powerhouse. But Sam Shade and Antonio Langham, both NFL players, both won a national championship at Alabama. That's the football coaches. James Harris, who's a track coach, who's competing to go to the Olympics again in a 4x400 sprinter. Like, these are their coaches. Charles Barkley just gave $1 million to the school not long ago. Miles is a cool place. But outside all that, the CIA, FBI, DEA, ATF, all the alphabet groups, they put programs in about 40 colleges around America. Not PWIs, HBCUs, all of it. 40. Miles is only HBCU with one. They recruit students for the intelligence agencies out of Miles College.
Well, you're correct, but let me add some information to you. Cheney University was the first, and they still are. If you want to be in the FBI and you're a student at Temple University in Philadelphia, you have to take a class, an FBI class, criminal justice class, that's only taught at Cheney in this immediate area. So it doesn't matter if you at Penn, any of the big 5 schools, Drexel, LaSalle, if you're at Rutgers in New Jersey, any Delaware State or Delaware, University of Delaware in Delaware, it doesn't matter. You have to go to Cheney in order to finish or obtain that certificate or that degree, because there's one course there that Cheney has been teaching forever. So yes, they are doing a great job. The government is doing a great job of allowing these schools an opportunity to teach these kids and give these kids an opportunity to get into, their system, so to speak. So no, that's some good information. Have you been to Howard, the Harvard of HBCUs? No. Have you been there yet?
Well, you mean Harvard is the Howard of Ivy League schools? You got that backwards.
I got it backwards.
I've not been to Howard yet. Because early on, people asked me to go to smaller schools to give them attention, so I've really focused on that. Obviously, I want to see Howard. It's one of the granddaddy HBCUs. It's definitely on my list. But I spent 5 days at Hampton when I went a couple months ago. Loved Hampton, but I figure Howard's going to be kind of the same thing. I'm going to spend several days there because there's so much to absorb. So yeah, Howard's. But I also got to see. I really want to see FAMU and Prairie View and Southern and Grambling and Texas Southern. I mean, I still have South Carolina State. I have so many more to go to still. Get to go to the Virgin Islands. There's one down there, So, and I'm probably going to go to Langston here within a month out in Oklahoma, the furthest west HBCU. So, yeah, Howard's on my list, but there's a lot of other schools that are just as high.
Have you heard of Bluefield?
Oh, yeah, it's 90% white, yeah.
In West Virginia? When I was doing my research, preparing to write my memoir, I came across Bluefield because I had never heard of it. If I had heard of it, I didn't remember it. And it just goes to show you that knowledge is power. Because I actually had a longtime friend, I'm talking 20, 35 years I've known this guy. He's white. He's married to an African-American woman. And he actually said to me that he thought that white students didn't go to HBCUs. And I went, stop it. He goes, yeah, they call them historically black colleges. Why would a white student go to an HBCU? Because they want to go. Maybe the school offers a curriculum or a degree or a diploma, right, in which they want to earn that degree, right? Or maybe they're there for sports. Maybe they're there for music, for the arts. There could be, or maybe it could be the only school in their community. Like Bluefield. It's the only school that is affordable in that West Virginia community. Am I right?
Mm-hmm. Quality is quality. It doesn't matter.
So, so it's all about educating folks, and you're doing a great job of that, George. You're doing a great job. I'm telling you, you've got a really important interview coming up on the 13th. I saw it was promoted. Are you excited about it? That's with Celeste Stein from the radio show.
Yes, I am. Do you know who Celeste is?
I don't know who she is.
She went, I believe it's Spelman. Her husband went to Tennessee State. They do PR and speaking. He's my speaking agent. Her husband is. She actually, if I'm not mistaken, went to Oxford in England to study C.S. Lewis for 2 years. You know, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and all the movies and stuff, the famous author.
Really?
She's a brilliant lady. I think she was a news anchor. She had a very fascinating career, but brilliant woman. So I'm really excited to be interviewed by her. And her and her husband are going to represent me for speaking engagements. And they represent several NFL players, including Matthew Knowles, Beyonce's father.
Really?
Yeah. So, yeah, it's a crazy small world.
Well, you and I will be doing some offline talking in the next couple of days, my brother.
Hey, I got to tell you, this ride, like, doing social media and telling stories, I didn't think anybody would care, right? Mm-hmm. And you were an athlete, right? So you understand that high competitive adrenaline, it boggles my mind that people like that, like I told you, Stoop started following me. Shaquille O'Neal's like my videos. Like, it baffles me they would ever have an interest in me. But someone I met who's a pretty well-known former pro athlete told me, he goes, we're good at what we do. You're good at what you do. Game respects game.
Oh, absolutely.
And I kind of blew my mind. Like, I never thought of it that way.
And you also have to have the right frame of mind. As I said to you when we first talked, I didn't take and view what you were doing when you were asking folks to name as many HBCUs as possible in 60 seconds. I didn't see that as, oh, he's got an ulterior negative motive. I saw it as something as positive, and I know for a fact that I have never seen someone that looks like me do what you do. Yes, there are lots of folks who look like me that talk about HBCUs, right? In my, my background at home is I've got my Cheney up and my Villanova up and my jerseys and whatnot, right? I'm blessed enough that my high school, Cheney and Villanova all have the same school colors, exactly what you have on, blue and white. So everything looks good in my background because the colors match, right? How divine is that? So yes, game respects game. We appreciate what you're doing because number one, as I try to be, you're doing it from a positive perspective, but you're doing it from a factual perspective, and that matters. That matters. Now let's get into what we really like. I love food. And I love music. My dad was a musician. That's how my mom and dad met. She was a singer. He was a musician. How much fun are you having learning about different foods, eating different foods, people offering you different foods, and just the music that comes along with it?
Well, I'll bring it up for one. I love music. I can't play a lick. I have no rhythm. I am one of those white people who have to memorize time because I can't feel rhythm. I can't. So I feel like a girl too, and not to disrespect girls because y'all still throw better than me because I have weird shoulders. Music is something I've loved. I moved to Seattle in 1998 because I loved alternative music so much, and a girl cheated on me. So I left because I was so drawn to that music. Music marks the time of my life. Like I can remember 1986 with Top Gun coming out, mowing yards to that soundtrack, or Footloose, in my imagination and daydreaming, or when I'm working out, like White Lion. The song, it was White Line. Wait, I inclined 315 as a sophomore. That was a big number as a 16-year-old kid. But I remember that. So music but food, man, I think food really pulls us in together.
Absolutely. And
speaking of, I guess I'm going to make a video about this today, and I'm going to announce it here first. I've kind of hit walking. I get my miles every day, but I've kind of hit a depression. I'm lonely. Like I've got to mix things up. And I started realizing I've been really selfish because I had built this very large platform and I am not doing enough to lift other people up. It cost me nothing to go into a Black-owned business, a restaurant. It doesn't matter what it is. Say hi, film for 5 or 10 minutes, get my hugs and and fellowship with somebody and give them free love. It cost me nothing. And what good is it to have this platform if I am not lifting other people up? And if people question it, I've used white-owned businesses more than 95% of my life. It's my money. It's my choice how I want to spend it. So why would I not use this? And I decided today is the day I change. And a big part of this crossing the country is I just want to visit and meet as many people as I can and help bring attention to what they're doing or their livelihood so they can survive. Because, again, it cost me nothing. I should have been doing it a long time ago, but it's mainly going to be around food since you brought that up.
Oh, because I know how important food is. I wrote a book about relationships, not about race, right? The title of my book is Race Against Race, but that's just because, I was trying to be smart, right? And you have to give people a reason to grab your book off the shelf, right? And then they read the spine, they read the subtitle, My Journey of Diversity and Inclusion Through Sports. Then they get a little bit more deeper understanding of what I'm talking about. But basically, my book is about relationships. And when you're building relationships, food and music always is important and plays a role in it. right? We eat food every single day. We listen to music, regardless if we control that music or not, every single day. So we know how much we enjoy and love our arts, and we know how much, in terms of being human, how much we love food. And then to discover all kinds of food is great, right?
Again, food unifies us. You know what I mean? I love to cook for people more than I enjoy eating. I love the satisfaction of somebody going, that was good. That just warms my heart to do that. You know, that's how I use food. I tell a story with food, just like I do words.
Well, you're a great storyteller, and we're coming up to towards the end of the program. But I want to make sure before we get to the end of the program, how can people reach you and how can they support you? Tell the audience.
First off, you can go to watch my content. If you share it, like it, sharing helps a lot. Comment on it, but it's TikTok. It's White George, WhiteGeorge. Instagram is The Wit George. It's white without the E. I know it's confusing. The Wit George. I have GoFundMe link in both bios on platforms because that's how I'm across the country due to kindness and generosity of friends and strangers. As well as I have a Cash App, which is, $GWHITS. And that's kind of how I funded it because I can't walk and work at the same time and do this. And I'm going to get start a YouTube, or got over 1,000 videos. I just hadn't done it, but I've got to start my YouTube channel. But those are the main places. I don't link it directly to my Facebook. I'm going to stop because I get a lot of hate and death threats and stuff, and I don't necessarily want those two worlds combined for that reason. So I'm probably going to start a separate Facebook for that because I've gotten so big now, I get a lot of crazies.
There you go, right? That's when you know you're making a positive impact, right? That's when you know you're making a positive impact. Have you been to a homecoming yet at an HBCU yet?
3 of them.
Which 3? Do you remember?
Well, yeah. Oh, yeah. I went to Spellhouses, Morehouse's, Spellman's. I've been to Tennessee State. And then the HBCU New York Classic is also the kickoff of homecoming season, which was Albany State Morehouse last year. Homecomings are wild, man. I thought I hydrated enough. I did not. I will know better to hydrate this year. It's wild. It's so much fun. And I got to tell you, I am the turd in the punch bowl. Like, I am one of the only white faces, and I was so accepted. And it was just amazing. Good time. Throwdown party. Like, every white person should attend an HBCU homecoming and watch the bands at least once in their life.
And you said it perfectly. The group will accept you. They will invite you in. No, and let's be real. All right. That doesn't mean that there's no person that looks like me that's not racist. Let's keep it real. There's a small percentage. It's got to be. It's just human nature, right? But overwhelmingly, you're going to, if you go to an HBCU event and you're white, you're going to be accepted. No one's going to spit in your face. No one's going to throw anything at you. No one's going to ask you to leave, right? You're going to have a positive experience like our wonderful White George, our brother George. You're going to have that kind of experience. So listen, George, we've come to the end of our program. Thank you very much. This took about 3 weeks for us to put this together. I'm glad we were able to catch you on some downtime. You're just doing wonderful things. God bless you. Hang in there. You're going to get the support you need. Sounds like you're meeting all the right people. And take 10 seconds to say something positive.
Life is so much beautiful and sweeter when you're open-minded about people that look different than you. If you just, for a moment, temporarily put aside your prejudices and biases and look at the person in front of you as a person and nothing else and say hi, you'd be surprised how that single moment can brighten or change your day or life. Happens to me every day.
Well, thank you, sir. We appreciate it. We've come to the end of the program, folks. As I said, thank you for your time. Stay tuned. There's more great programming like this to come. you.